So, as you mentioned, I mean, you're still very much in the infancy of your coaching career. I think that's fair. May of last year, you get an opportunity to become a head coach. I'm sure it's not the first time you had thought about that sort of opportunity and how you might handle it. Did you have? And I mean, and we'll get into it, but you've been around some. And you touched on it too. Like you've been around some really, really good hockey people. But did you have anywhere where when you were out recruiting and driving around Western Canada or wherever you were, where you would document, like, if I get this, when I get this opportunity, this is how I'm going to do it? Or what, we had a coaching staff meeting at St. Cloud, and Mike Gibbon said something really insightful. I'm going to make sure that I hang on to that for when I get an opportunity. How did you kind of prepare yourself for this next step in your career?
No, I think that's, for me, and I can say without a doubt the most fortunate part of my career so far has been the people I've gotten to work with and work for, and that's probably the biggest piece of advice I could give anyone else is not to worry about where you're coaching, where you're working, what's the salary, anything like that. It's who do you get to work for and who do you work with on a daily basis that you're going to be able to learn from. And for me, I got my first job working in Sioux Falls in the USHL as an assistant coach with Scott Owens, who to this day is one of the smartest hockey people and managers of people that I've been around. Longtime coach in the USHL, longtime head coach at Colorado College.
Yeah.
Learned a lot from him about patience, about his big picture approach to a season, to development, and I took a lot of that with me, and then I got to work under Brett Larson and work with Mike Gibbons and Dave Shayak at St. Cloud State, and I think Coach Larson is one of the best people I feel at creating culture, creating team, making people feel valued, understanding everyone has value, and then holding people accountable to that. And that's something that I've really tried to pull with me here, and holding people accountable to that standard every day. And Gibby and Coach Shayak, they were awesome people to work with and work alongside of and recruit with and talk about players. And I'm sure a lot of the whether it's verbiage, terminology, drills, a lot of the things that I have, I didn't come up with on my own. I know that much. So I've tried to be a sponge everywhere I've been, but I think that's the biggest thing. I've gotten to learn. I've gotten to learn and work with some unbelievable people, and even through some USA Hockey events and things like that. Working with some national teams, like it's yeah, I've been fortunate, and that's the biggest thing for me.
So I got to steal something for you. So I'm literally on my desktop here. I've got a PowerPoint open. I've got to do a presentation for a minor hockey association, and just some general observations on what makes great coaches. And so one of the slides is about, you got to find a way to make every kid feel important. Doesn't matter what level you're at, whether they're making 5 sheets a year, they're excited about the freezy they might get at the end of the game. What did you learn, or can you give any examples, maybe with Brett, of some ways that he would make every player feel important? And I guess I'd probably point to probably the players that are, you've got your star players or your top end players, but those players that are maybe lower down on the roster. What are some examples of how he would make sure that they came to the rink feeling like they had a lot to give?
Yeah, you know what, Brett spent more time than anyone I've been around just with individual players, whether it be individual meetings, individual video, grabbing a player after practice. I think the amount of time he just invested into every single person, there's no replacement for that, right? There's no replacement for from a player standpoint, knowing that your head coach is in that battle with you and is in that fight to make you a better player. And that's what Brett was so good at. And I think the thing I learned from Brett as well is we all do a lot of team video sessions and meetings, and I think finding ways to celebrate the little things and celebrate the little things with different players, right?
Love that.
I know, for instance, on our past road trip, we just showed a few clips to end one of our video sessions of just different players on our team making small plays, but big plays in a game that ultimately impact your success versus not having success. And I think that's a way to make guys feel valued too. Is you're not just showing the highlight reel in your video sessions. You're showing someone on a great back check, someone defending at net front well. You can pick any area, but I think that's a way that you can make everyone feel valued. And to be honest, Aaron, for me, I've my whole career I was a third, fourth line forward, and so I had to learn to lead from the back of the bus, so to speak. So I think that's something that as a player and putting myself in those shoes and looking through that lens that I've tried to bring with me is making everyone feel like they're a part of it and they have an impact on it.
Why do you think? So, you mean you were the captain your senior season at St. Cloud, and you've obviously chosen a profession that's focused on leadership. What do you think it is about you that people gravitated towards, or that maybe put you in a position to lead?
Uh, I think it starts, with anything. I think it just starts with, um, a work ethic and a desire to get better and the desire to put people around you first. I think that's what allowed me, I think, to gain credibility as a player and as a leader. Even though I wasn't on a power play, I wasn't one of the top scorers on our teams. But I think I worked and did my job and put other people around me ahead of myself. And I think, I don't know how much that changes as a coach either, right? I think
Yeah.
you put your players first, you put your staff first. You're you try to be, realistic enough to know that, especially in my first year, I don't have all the answers. And I tell our guys that all the time. I said, guys, you guys are going to make mistakes in games. I'm going to make mistakes in games. I don't have all the answers. I'm learning from each and every one of you guys every day. And if you guys are seeing something, come bring it up, right? Because I want to learn and I want to grow with you guys. So I think those would be, for me, some of the things that maybe as a player and as a coach, you maybe necessarily want to keep the same, right, and not change that dial.
Well, it's interesting. I look at the season you've had this year. You've been remarkably consistent, and when maybe there's been a dip, your team has come right back and responded. Except you just had your first 2-game losing streak, and when that happens, I don't know if Kerry Eads is riding the bus with you. You guys were on the road, I believe, in Sioux City. What kind of advice is he giving you? Because I mean, he's I'm sure he's seen just about everything at this stage of his career.
No, for sure, and that's where, again, I go back to the people that I've been able to work for and with, and I'm fortunate to have someone like Kerry who has the experience that he has, both from a coaching side and a management side, to draw from him and lean on him a little bit. And I think I think that's something that, and I go back to even our leadership group and with just staying resilient. And we talk about that a lot things aren't always going to go your way during the course of a practice, during the course of a game. It's how you respond to that adversity. And actually last weekend we did, I'll share this with you. We had three games in 3 days on the road: Sioux City, Omaha,
Yeah.
Omaha. And,
Yeah.
we're at the 20 game mark, right? And a lot of our guys, they got the sniffles. They're a little banged up. You're 2 weeks away from Christmas break, right? Everyone's at the same point in the year, so it's not an excuse at all.
Yeah, but it's real.
It's real, and so we actually just spun it, and I got this from a good friend of mine, Andy Boschetto, who's the assistant coach at Augustana, a startup program there at Sioux Falls. He said, you know what? He said, this is exactly how you guys are going to feel in May if you're playing deep into the playoffs. So why not learn how to do it now? versus waiting until then. So that was kind of our our spin on this last week is let's treat this like a playoff series. It's 3 games in 3 days. Let's learn how to do it now versus waiting until the end of the year. And so we dropped Friday night in Sioux City 3-2 on a D zone faceoff goal we gave up in the third period in a 2-2 game.
Oh man.
So we lose 3-2, and the message was, hey, this might happen to us at the end of the year. You might drop a game, and in a series you can't get too high and you can't get too low. You got to find a way to respond and stay resilient. So we had a good response on Saturday, and we were able to kind of carry that message out yesterday, and ended up getting 2 or 3 on the road. So those are kind of the fun things for me. I think that whether it's messaging or different things as a coach that it's been fun to try and learn and make mistakes too all along the way. So it's been good.
Hey, coaches, we hear a lot these days about sport culture. And while we can all agree that things need to shift, sometimes it can feel unclear as to how to create the change needed within your own team or program. Achieving a healthy team culture doesn't have to be complicated. The solution? Hone Athletics. Hone has developed a digital platform that helps you support the other side of your athletes. I'm talking about the mental and emotional side. You receive simple, real time data on the stressors that are known to impact athlete well being and performance, as well as expert advice on how to address what you are seeing in your team trends. When you combine insight and action on the state of their collective well being, you automatically create the kind of supportive environment that allows players to trust, communicate, and most importantly, grow. Hone Athletics is offering a limited time membership discount to listeners of the Glass Note podcast. That means you're going to get 50% off. That's right, 50% off your first season with the platform. Visit honeathletics.com and request a call to discuss how they can help your team achieve new levels of performance and to deliver a quality athlete experience. That's HONE athletics.com. Let them know the Coach's Site sent you.